The steam from the overcooked noodles rises like a veil in the crowded university canteen, where the air hums with the clatter of trays and the murmur of half-formed ambitions. It's lunchtime, that fleeting hour when the weight of lectures and looming deadlines presses down, turning every glance into a silent negotiation. You slide into a seat at a scarred wooden table, the kind that's seen 1,000 spills and secrets, your fork hovering over a plate that promises nothing but fleeting satisfaction. Across from you, a stranger, disheveled hair, eyes darting like shadows in a storm, leans in too close, his voice a low rumble that cuts through the din. Ever feel like your mind's a locked room, and the key is just out of reach? He asks, not waiting for your nod, because he knows the answers etched in every furrowed brow around you. The canteen pulses with it, the fog of unspoken regrets, the hesitation that turns bold ideas into whispers. You stir your food, but the question lingers, pulling you deeper into the chaos of half-eaten meals and half-lived dreams. What if I told you that right now, in this very moment, something invisible is stealing your edge? Not the fluorescent lights flickering overhead, nor the endless scroll of notifications buzzing in your pocket, but a deeper drain, one that starts in the shadows of your own body. Imagine the rush of clarity you've chased through coffee-fueled all-nighters, or frantic note scribbling, only to grasp at smoke. The stranger's eyes lock on yours, as if he's peering into the gears, grinding slow in your skull. It's not just exhaustion, he whispers, the words hanging like a challenge. It's the leak you can't see, the vitality slipping away drop by drop. The canteen noise fades for a split second, and you're left with the pounding of your pulse, wondering if he's reading your thoughts or if this is the hook that's about to reel you in. Lean closer, let this unravel for you, because what comes next could rewrite the script of your every hesitation. Picture the scene sharpening around you. A group at the next table erupts in laughter, but it's hollow, masking the undercurrent of envy and doubt. You've been there, haven't you? Staring at your untouched syllabus, ideas flickering like faulty bulbs, brilliant one instant, dim the next. The stranger slides a crumpled napkin across the table, sketches a jagged line with his pen, a brain fractured, signals crossing like wires in a storm. This is you, right now, he says, voice dropping to a conspiratorial hush. Slow thoughts chasing shadows, decisions lagging like echoes in an empty hall. Your heart quickens. It's too precise, too raw. What if he's right? What if the fog isn't random, but a thief in disguise, pilfering your sharpness while you chase distractions? The canteen clock ticks louder, each second a taunt, urging you to stay, to listen, because turning away now would mean surrendering to the blur forever. And here's where the drama ignites. Deep within, beyond the clamor of trays and chatter, lies a force as ancient as survival itself, a reservoir of raw power, coiled and waiting. You felt its pull in fleeting highs, in the electric surge after a win or a whisper of conquest, but you've never named it. The stranger's pen pauses, ink bleeding into the napkin like a secret spilling free. Call it the essence, he murmurs, eyes gleaming with the fire of revelation. The vital spark that doesn't just build bodies, but forges minds into weapons. The air thickens. You can almost taste the tension, the unspoken promise that this spark isn't lost. It's merely misplaced, drained by habits you never questioned. Lean in further. Imagine reclaiming it, feeling the fog lift like mist before dawn. The canteen fades to a backdrop, and suddenly, this table becomes the stage for your awakening. But suspense builds in the shadows. What if holding on to that spark isn't surrender, but the ultimate rebellion? The stranger's sketch evolves, lines converging, a mind no longer scattered, but laser-focused, slicing through doubt like a blade through silk. Retention, he breathes, the word a thunderclap in the mundane hum, not deprivation, but dominion. The act of guarding your essence, letting it rise instead of spilling into the void. Your fork clatters forgotten. Questions swarm like moths to flame. How does it work? Why does it matter here? Amid lukewarm soup and stifled yawns, he smiles, a predator's grin, knowing he's got you hooked. Because your brain isn't just meat and sparks, it's a fortress, besieged by cravings that dull its walls. The revelation hangs, electric, daring you to envision a version of yourself unbound. Thoughts racing ahead of the pack, decisions landing like arrows in the dark. Feel the pull yet? That itch to know more? To test the edge of this truth against your own frayed nerves? The canteen swirls back into focus, students shuffling, oblivious to the storm brewing at your table. But you're different now, aren't you? The stranger's words have cracked the facade, revealing the hidden war, vitality versus waste, clarity versus chaos. Start small, he urges, voice weaving suspense like a storyteller around a fire. One day, one choice, and watch the shift. Fog recedes. Edges sharpen. It's interactive now, not just hearing. You're feeling the transformation tease at your fingertips, the promise of a mind that doesn't falter, doesn't fade. stay with me. The real story's just beginning, a descent into the mechanics of power you never knew you craved. As the lunch bell tolls faintly in the distance, the stranger vanishes into the crowd, leaving you with the napkin your map to the unseen. But the drama doesn't end. It coils tighter, pulling you from the canteen's fluorescent haze into the labyrinth of your own potential. What if this essence, this guarded fire, isn't merely physical? It manifests as a creeping mental twilight, sluggish cognition, a veil of uncertainty where precision once reigned. The seed of creation holds realms beyond mere propagation. It's a vault of untapped vigor, igniting focus, etching memories deep, accelerating choices with lethal grace. When squandered in reckless torrents, the psyche stumbles, burdened by invisible chains. Reflections drag like anchors through mud. Concentration shatters at the slightest gust. This erosion isn't abstract Titch the thief that robs you in boardrooms and bedrooms alike, turning allies into echoes, strategies into stutters. Yet, in the hush of restraint, a counterforce awakens. By cradling that primal surge, the neural pathways cease their frantic scramble, emerging from survival's fevered grip. Energies once flung wide, circle back, homing to the core. No longer enslaved to endless hunts for thrill, the intellect steadies, a compass finding true north. Perceptions, once muddled in twilight, blaze into stark relief. What blurred in confusion now snaps into crystalline focus, not through gritted effort, but a gentle reclamation, the system unburdened at last. Beneath the surface churns a storm of silent saboteurs, yearnings that whisper without cease, visions that ensnare the idle mind, cycles of urge that devour bandwidth in the quiet hours. Even amid proclaimed concentration, these phantoms feast, leaving scraps for the tasks at hand. Restraint wields a silencer, muting the cacophony with elegant finality. Interruptions dwindle. The psyche breathes, weaving threads of thought into seamless tapestries, bridging concepts with the swiftness of lightning. In the realm of discernment, survival hinges on sifting gold from grit's cerebral sieve. As theorists of the mind once mapped, parsing vital pulses from the roar of irrelevance, when fortified, this guardian awakens instincts primal and profound, perils glimpsed on the horizon, fortunes seized in their infancy, trifles dismissed with a sovereign wave, frailty births pandemonium. Every ping, every pang, every plea swells to siren song, drowning the subtle and deluge. The essences unchecked, flood drenches, the senses in excess, conditioning the core to flinch at shadows as if they were tempests. Hence the paradox of the overwhelmed yet barren soul adrift in a sea of signals, harvesting not, but exhaustion. Restraint inverts the tide, dialing down the inner tempest until silence reigns. As the barrage ebbs, acuity returns in waves, carving contrast from the canvas of chaos. Crucial whispers pierce the veil once more. The cosmos quiets its bellow, yielding truths that resonate like distant thunder. Excess doesn't lurk solely in glowing screens or grinding pressures, it festers in the mind's unyielding rehearsals, the endless previews of indulgence that hijack the present. Nature conspires here, reward circuits, honed on perpetual indulgence, falter in triage, elevating whims to emergencies. All appears paramount when hierarchy crumbles. Yet restraint mutes this murmur, lowering the din to a hush. Impulses recede, vigilance sharpens to a scalpel's edge. Nuances bloom shifts in timbre, during discourse, the chill of unease, before declaration. Echoes of antiquity resound. Legions of old, versed in denials, forge, wielded senses honed to predatory keenness, sans the lexicon of labs. Science echoes their wisdom, elevate the signal's purity, and sight accelerates unerring. Choices evolve not from labored strain, but from the mercy of muted mirages. Freed from phantom fires, the intellect conserves its blaze, scorning snares that mimic substance, yet yield voids. The bar for ignition climbs. Impulses yield to poised vigil, clarity's patient courtship over haste's blind lunge. Suspense infuses cognitia, deliberate linger, allowing veils to part, motifs to crystallize. Refinement follows errata diminish. Rhythms align with fate's pulse. Annals exalt the deliberate striker over the precipitous fool. Restraint cultivates this sovereign delay, attuning response to essence, not echo. Time's cruel calculus unveils another veil, the penchant upon futures for fleeting bomb, a relic of savage eras where now eclipsed peril's shadow. Sustenance seized, trumped, hoarded hope. Ecstasy's swift quench quelled the wild unknown. In epochs of abundance, this bent warps into sabotage proximity's lure, eclipsing destiny's draw, birthing the chasm between knowing and yielding. The essence's vigilant hold shatters this snare at its font. With instant gratification's throne toppled, the psyche confronts postponement's stark gaze. Initial discord reigns. A friction like flint on steel, then alchemy stirs at. Adaptation blooms. Denial transmutes. From torment to terrain, familiar as vigil endures. Anticipations. Thorn dulls. Equilibrium settles over the storm-tossed nerves. This pivot is profound. For empires crumble not on apathy's altar, but delay's barbed throne. Lore of the psyche affirms. When interlude aches, immediacy swells to salvation's scale. Restraint inscribes the counter-right, etching resilience into the marrow proof that empires endure sans haste's fever. EndocrineTides.com. The thrills, wild surgers yield to measured flows. Envisioning horizons evokes serenity, not strife. Spans stretch sans the whip of will. Antiquities, architects, and autocrats thrived in this temporal throne, bartering not for dawn's dew but harvest's bounty. Restraint resurrects this vista, embedding foresight as instinct. Queries pivot from ephemeralese to enduring ascent. Discord dissolves. The self no longer a battlefield of briefs. This is essence's quiet dominion, not brute clash, but chronology's crown. The sovereign who masters the morrow wields worlds. Restraint aligns the flesh's fire with spirit's stride. Transiences, tether snaps, tomorrow's throne asserts its mass. When foresight supplants frenzy, machinations eclipse caprice life's, currents bend to the patient helm, effortless as breath. Deeper still lurks the oracle within, a ceaseless seer, scripting silent sagas from flickers and pauses, erecting edifices of expectation from the flux of faces and fates. In repose, these visions hold verity. In urge's gale, they fracture, desire's prism, warping the lens to favor fables over facts. Restraint roots out this rift, staunching the surges that sway the sight. Inputs arrive, unadorned. Observation reclaims its throne, untainted, the bedrock of prescience pure. As constancy claims, the core oscillations, cease-graves, crescendo, and crash, no more. Equilibrium trumps fervor. Studies of the soul attest, augury thrives in effective calm. Motifs emerge unbidden, unmarred by momentary manias. Whispers of intent waft clear. Dialogues drifts dawn before declaration. Veterans of valor knew this vigil, forging forbearance lest passion poison prophecy. Restraint revives it raw, rebalancing the brew of vigor, thrill, and tension. The intellect sheds, speculations, shroud, charting courses, crystalline. Not whim's whisper, but poise's precision, this foresight, fair as deeds, ahead of dawns, not trailing tempests. You pivot, premonition, diffuse before detonation, choose with a hush that harbors hurricanes. Existence decelerates in your sphere, for you've staked claim in advance. Restraint hones this harbinger by banishing the buzz that blunts the boon. When longing lifts its fog from verdict, repercussions rise like specters on the scrimmet, not mauled. This crowns the masculine mind, prelude over panic, forecast over flail. When augury aligns, toil tapers, triumph swells command without clamor, the genesis of grip. Yet the drama deepens, for this power isn't solitary. It threads through the tapestry of trials, from solitary studies to symphonies of strategy. Envision the boardroom's brink, where seconds stretch to eternities, and the fog-shrouded falter while the retained rise, their gaze unyielding, choices carving paths through peril. The essence's hold doesn't merely mend the mind, it magnifies it, turning whispers of doubt into roars of resolve. In the quiet aftermath of restraint, memories don't merely linger. They ignite, synapses firing like stars in alignment, recalling not just facts, but the fire behind them. Suspense coils here, in the unseen shift. What if your every evasion, every midnight surrender, has been scripting a slower self? The canteen's echo lingers, that napkin a talisman now, urging you to test the theory. Begin tonight, fill the initial ache, the fan to pull, then the dawn of dominion, as energies redirect, flooding the frontal lobes with forgotten fury. Decisions, once dawdling dancers in dilemma's hall, now stride with purpose, each step a statement against the scatter. And oh, the interactions it ignites, conversations that once meandered, now mesmerize. Your words weighted with the gravity of gained ground. Colleagues lean in, sensing the subtle supremacy. The way your retorts land, not as barbs, but as beacons. The world, once a whirlwind of white noise, resolves into rhythms you command to melds, parsed in glances, alliances forged in fleeting exchanges. Restraint isn't isolation. It's the invisible ink that writes your influence across the page. But beware, the backlashes beat the mind, starved of its crutch, revels with visions, vivid and vile. Testing your throne, like tempests at sea. Endure, for in that forge, fortitude flowers, the hormonal hymn harmonizes. Surges steady, not spasmodic. Calm cascades where chaos once camped, temporal traps dissolve. You trade the snack for the feast, the spark for the blaze, building not just days, but dynasties in thought. Predictive prowess peaks in this purity scenarios, sketched not in sweat but serenity, outcomes orchestrated before opponents even outlined them. It's the edge of emperors, the whisper of warriors who waited, watching veils part to reveal victory's vein. Your narrative rewrites itself, no longer the pursued but the prowler. Senses attuned to the symphony of subtleties that others sleep through. Deeper into the drama, consider the cost of complacency, the slow suicide of unchecked release, where vitality vampires away, leaving a husk that haunts its own reflections. Mirrors mock with eyes dulled, ambitions adrift like leaves in lethargy. Yet retention rallies the reserves, a resurrection from within attention anchored, not adrift. Memory, a monolith, unyielding 2 times tide. The sequence shifts now, urgency underscoring every utterance. Imagine the midnight hour, when impulses howl at the gate, and you stand sentinel, essence your shield. Victory tastes of velvet thunder clarity crashing in, washing away the weariness. Decisions dawn decisive, not deferred. You don't deliberate in dread but decreed with dawn's first light. This isn't myth, it's mechanism, the mind's machinery oiled by omission's grace. Signal sieves sharpen, false flares flicker out. Noise kneels to nuance. In the canteen's ghost, you see it now, the stranger with sentinel, heralding your ascent from average to apex. Suspense swells as stories surface. Ancients who abstained to attune their campaigns crowned by cognition unchained. Modern echoes abound titans of trade who traded indulgence for insight, boards bending to their unblinking bid. You, too, can claim this chronicle, threading restraint through the warp of your weeks. Feel the friction fade, the flow fortified dopamines, dance, disciplined, not deranged. Long arcs allure, immediate itches itch, no more. Strategy, supplants, spasm, the future's forge, your familiar fire. This is the thrill's true throne, not conquest's clamor, but control's quiet crescendo. Predictive layers unfold like scrolls in a sanctum behaviors, blueprinted betrayals breathed before breath. No longer lured by longing's lie, you lead, life lagging in your luminous wake. Restraint refines the raw, rendering, reaction, relic. The essay of existence elevates, from fog's frail fingers to focus's firm fist. Every paragraph of your path, penned anew hesitations haunt banished. Sharpness your scepter. The canteen was catalyst. Now, the cosmos conspires for your command. Yet the tone turns tempestuous. What lurks if you linger in loss? A legacy of lags, a life leached of luster. Rise, reclaim let. The essence empower, mind, a monarch unchallenged. Decisions dazzle, destinations drawn by deliberate design. If this video gave you real value, tap the thanks button. Your support helps me keep creating deeper content like this. Every thanks is a spark that keeps this mission alive. Your support means more than you know. In this saga swell, sections seamlessly splice. Detection's drama yields to discounts. Dual predictions. Pinnacle. Each facet fuels the flame, forging a psyche, phoenix-like, reborn in retention's right. Temporal trials transmute to triumphs. Waiting weaves wisdoms. Web no more, the pawn of pleasures. Pulse you plot, patient, potent. Outcomes orbit, your orbit, effortless as exhale. Foresights forge fires fierce, patterns parade, unprompted, perils parried pre-dawn. This is the mind's masterpiece, anticipation's art, not accidents, aftermath. Suspense sustains the script. Will you wield this weapon, or wither in want? The choice chimes like a clarion embrace, the essence, etch eternity in every act. Dramatic depths descend, vitality's vault, once violated, now venerated. Thoughts thunder, unthwarted, focus a fortress, foes forgotten. The narrative nears nexus retentions, revelation, a renaissance for the resolute. Feel the surge, it's yours, simmering, summoning, supremacy. This concludes not closure, but commencement mind, magnified, making mastery mundane.